All right, well, maybe we'll catch it on the way back if you guys are in the chat at that point. But right now, just going to take a little quick shot just in case somebody can see that, because that's what happens when the flood came. All this stuff gets built up by the bridge, and it was the level of the water came up to here, right? So you look at that. The water went from all the way up here, easily more than 2 meters. That was absolutely amazing. Now we're going to get back onto our morning routine and see if we can get to the morning market today, because yesterday we tried to get to the morning market to buy an umbrella, which we don't have one at the house. So that is my main objective for this morning walk, is to make a significant purchase of an umbrella, because it's nice. I like umbrellas. Anyway, right now it's 5:52 in the morning, and it's a nice morning. It looks like it's going to be a nice day. You know, the whole town here is just digging out of the floods. So, yeah, well, digging out. I mean, not digging out. They're using pumps and stuff like that. They were yesterday using pumps to take out the water from their first floors. And a lot of places suffered a lot of damage. And these are for people that actually can't afford to have bad things happen to them, because there's not a lot of money, you know, in these things. Like, in order to replace, a freezer. So let's say you have a store and you're on the first floor, and you're on the on the ground floor, and the flood comes. Now all of a sudden you lose your freezer. You got to spend another, another 5, 6,000, 10,000 baht to get a new freezer or a new cooler or whatever it is. But you're making only 300 baht a day. So let's say a cheap price, probably 10,000 is a cheap price. So 10,000 divided by 300 is how much? Right? What is that, 33? So you'd have to save every penny for 33 days just to get a new compressor or a new refrigerator or whatever it is. If you have one of these small mom and pop stores, they just can't take the heat. I mean, they can't take it. But fortunately, the good thing is that because this region is prone to floods, and this is the amazing thing, not all, but a lot of people do have preparations, in effect for it. But not everybody does, it's just kind of a sad thing. But anyway, we're out here, and it's looking nice. It's looking nice this morning, I'll tell you. Everything's just a really nice, beautiful morning. I got the cicadas or crickets, I don't know, whatever they are. I think those are cicadas. Can you hear them? I can hear them. They're very loud. Yeah, anyway. So we keep on moving. Get our exercise, which is key. Like I said, everybody in the chat, man, get your exercise. It pays dividends. It pays dividends to exercise and take care of your health. It's good for your mental health. It's good for your, physical health. There's just no bad side effect from, moderate exercise. I'm not talking about like, taking steroids and pumping iron. There's definitely negative side effects for that. But just like Tai Chi, walking, these are critical things, to keep your body moving, especially if you, want to, maintain a good diet, diet and exercise. And then you increase your chances of making it past 50 exponentially, which is a nice thing. We can have the opportunity to live a little bit longer, hopefully. That's the idea, When I was in the United States, I did go back to the United States. I stayed there for 7 years. I worked for 7 years over there. I found it really difficult to maintain a healthy diet because so much food that's for sale over there is just absolute garbage. Now, I'll give you an example. I went back to the United States in 2018. I'd been here in Thailand since 1990. All right, but in 2018, I decided to go back. And my first experience with this food, I'll tell you, I got into the airport, let's see, what airport was it? The Las Vegas airport, because I landed in Las Vegas, and I was hungry. I hadn't had anything to eat. And so I went over and tried to get myself a chicken wing, right? I wanted to get a chicken wing. And I looked at these things, and they were like massive, and I was like, wow, that's a really big chicken wing, And I was like, I actually ended up buying one because I wasn't quite sure, But then I started to think about like the chicken wings that I have in the Thai countryside. They're not filled with hormones and all that kind of crazy stuff. This thing was filled with more hormones. I couldn't even take one bite. I had to throw it in the garbage. I don't want to waste food, but I don't consider that food. That was some sort of Frankenstein thing, and that happens all across the United States. They're putting in those hormones and stuff like that in the food. It's absolutely nasty, and it's bad for you. Why do you think people outside the United States live so much longer? Like in the Mediterranean and Japan and Thailand and India and stuff like that, even though they're obviously certain problems, socioeconomic problems, which do... Oh, okay. Whoa, is that Japan? Hey, Linguino. No, this is not Japan. This is Thailand. And Juan, go ahead. Where are you at? I'm in Thailand. We're in Thailand. And Markson Barlis, hello. Good morning, everybody. Good to say hello to you. Good that you're here. I always appreciate you guys coming with me for this morning walk because, hey, in this world, we're all in it together, one way or another. And the sooner the whole world gets to that kind of same mindset, we'll be better off. We're all in it together. We're on this tiny rock in the solar system that's filled with all kinds of danger and stuff like that. I mean, and people should forget about, having problems with other countries and stuff like that. They should, it's just ridiculous. But anyway, that's the way it is. So gotta adjust. All right. See, the garbage is still. I'll give you a close up on this. The garbage is still there. Yesterday, I don't know if anybody was here from yesterday, but yesterday what we had is that I walked further down towards the municipality of this town, and saw a whole bunch of garbage coming down. As it turns out, what that was the... Yeah, I had speculated that maybe it was somebody throwing garbage over the bridge or something like that, which is, I'm sure that it wasn't. What it was, I believe, was that the water level had gone down significantly. And once the level went down, now the space between the concrete bridge and the water, there was like, space. So all that debris just sort of keep moving on down and stuff like that. But this is a beautiful morning, I'll tell you that much. I love these you see all these old wood. I'll just show you something. I'm sure they're not going to mind. These are old trees, real old trees. And these are what do you call it? Teak. They're very strong and a very heavy wood. Unfortunately, these days, these kinds of wood are very expensive and harder to come by because of human activity. But that's another story. Actually, I was talking about like wood houses and stuff like that. If you keep your eyes open and look at the left and the right and see these houses, like here's a wood house right here. It's that's where how the houses were they all used to be like that until about 50 years ago, when it became more concrete. Construction became more available. Yeah, I don't know. I love wood houses and wood architecture and furniture and stuff like that. But the reality is that, obviously there's too many humans and too few trees. The earth has a bad case. The earth has a bad case of human. Swadee krab, savadi lupao. Lom. Yeah, so. Oh, yeah, so now, here's some of the flowers, native flowers. It's kind of got a strange color in the video feed. But, trying to figure out what these are. There is some, I do know some of them, but I don't know any of these. They're quite nice. I'll show you the ones that I do know, because I did try to do a case study. Well, obviously, here's cactus. Right, look at this cactus. That's some sort of that's really wild. You got a small cactus. Oh, and this here, I know what this is. This is prickly pear, and I know that because I lived in the desert for part of my life. And prickly pear is what every survivalist has to know about, because what that is that it's filled with water, right? And here's these guys. These guys have all the ducks and the chickens and everything like that. I like looking at, oh, here they come. They want some food. Look at these guys. Beautiful ducks and chickens and a big rooster with a big mouth. All right, let's get back on it. Don't want to slip in the mud. Keep going. And we're lucky today. Today we're very lucky. The market is in full effect. So that means we should be able to buy an umbrella today, which would be nice. Now, I don't know how much umbrellas are where you are, but you can probably, let's try to guess how much the umbrella is going to cost. I'm going to say the umbrella cost, I'd go on the high side of 200 baht. So that's about $6. Now, that is a price that is comparable to street vendors in New York City. But, I just think that they sell them that cheap in New York City because these are really like it's like the supply and demand. There's a huge supply, and people kind of resist buying them a lot. But I'm definitely going to go to my guys who they're very friendly. And so yeah, remember yesterday? If you guys saw yesterday, there was nobody here. Very few people here yesterday, and now everybody's out. They said, the flood is over. The flood is over, and it's time to get out and shop. Hello. It's time to get out and shop. Let's see. Yesterday, a couple of days ago, they had umbrellas, right? สวัสดีครับป้าสวัสดีครับคุณตาเออซ้ำวันเราคนไข้ล่มใช่ไหมโมพี่นี่สบายดีหรือเปล่าอยากซื้อลมลม
ล่มกลางเหรอ
ลมฝนตก
ล่มกลางนี่นะ
ใช่ป่ะ
เนาะไม่เคยนี่นะ
บ้านน้องติงแค่นี้อยู่บ้านประจันนะไม่น้องติงนะแต่มีกล้องหนอกฮะบ้านคำจ่า
ข้างธนาคารกรุงไทย
นู่นนะ
ข้างธนาคารกรุงไทย
ธนาคาร
อ๋อโอเคเข้าใจแล้ว4 วันก่อนเขาขายลมวันนี้หมดแล้วขายหมดแล้วokay let's see should we buy something here should buy something okay what am I gonna eat มีนันทอนไหมครับโอเคมีนะฮะ1,000 บาทแบบหนึ่งนะมันร้อนไหมไม่ร้อน
ไม่ร้อนครับไม่ร้อน
โอเคบัมนี่ไหนนี่โอเคซื้ออะไรดี
เลือกเอาเลยครับ
โอเคเอาอันเดียวแล้วก็ย่ายมาหมดนี่วันนี้มีมีดไหมมีมีดกระเป๋า
ไม่มี
มันยากนิดหน่อยนะโอเคพอแล้วผมจะเดินมาทอดมันพัน
ใส่นี่มาโถเปิดเนี่ยนี่ใส่อย่างซ้ำ
so here we got
5 บาท
5 baht for the sausages. This is the crab sticks. These are pork. This is salmon. No, that's not salmon. That's another kind of like a tilapia. And that's pla tot sumun prai. Pla mood. Tot. And then guy. These very nice people. Okay, ขอบคุณหลายๆครับผมจะมาใหม่ซื้อล้อมก่อน3 วันก่อนคุณพี่บอกซื้อล้อมทำไมผมไม่ได้ซื้อผมOkay, now, so what we got here is some sausages. Now you see the market's much fuller than it was before. But what we did do is, because you don't want to go to stop by a store and just like ask questions and not buy anything and stuff like that. I mean, it's only like the proper manners to have, stay in Thai Malayat, buy this, and these are really delicious and they're very fresh. I will tell you, this really happened. Sometimes I'm a little skeptical about buying some meat products that have been cooked. The reason for that is not because it's bad for you. Look, everybody eats it. It's just like, something ingrained in my head. You know? You can invent all sorts of things in your head. Well, anyway, this is a lovely morning. Wow. Compared to the way it's been in the last 5 days, you know, much better. Anyway, I asked the man, if he had any more umbrellas. He sold all his umbrellas. He told me to buy, and I said in Thai, he told me to buy one before the storm started. So well, he didn't tell me, he offered it to me, right? And for some reason, I just said, no, I'm not gonna buy one. It was really stupid because the storm was coming. What I didn't know was we didn't have any umbrellas at the house. So, and they were nice looking umbrellas too. Nice and wide, strong looking. Should have bought one then. But that didn't happen. All right. So we're in a town that has a lot of older people here. So what happens is that a lot of the young people leave small towns because they want to go to Bangkok or Pattaya or somewhere else where they have the opportunity to make money. Here, if you stayed here and you were young, you most likely would be working for your family. And if you're young, you're not going to really get any kind of pay because everything goes to the house, right? And you'd either do rice farming or cooking food or if you're lucky, you would get a job in a bank, because that's one of the better jobs you could get. Another good job to get is a police officer. I mean, I think like every family has somebody who's a police officer. My wife has like two of her uncles are police officers. Well, actually, I think they're retiring now. That's how, time flies, man. Came here 20 years, more than 20 years ago, in 1996. I remember them when they were young men, I'm still feeling young now, I'll tell you that much. I get exercise, I have a young mind, or at least I hope. Sometimes I haven't forgotten my name yet, or, forgot where I'm going. Once that starts to happen, you're screwed. But like I said, exercise and diet is a key thing. Don't eat processed food. Processed food is there to kill you. Don't buy bottled water for $3 a thing. Something that people don't understand about bottled water. I'm not talking about bottled water here, because bottled water here is a fraction of the price it is in Europe and North America. I mean, it's really a criminal racket that they have, and it's something that only started 50 years ago, 45 years ago, or something like that. It's amazing. They came out and they started saying, "Oh, everybody's got to drink bottled water because it's cleaner, safer," and everything like that. But you know, and people buy into these advertising campaigns. But the funny part is, humans, before 50 years ago, were drinking water for at least 300,000 years. So, you know, it's not like, oh, thank goodness Evian, you know, showed up. Oh, look at that. You see that? That's like a little Buddha watching over. That's a little Buddha watching over the bridge. I never saw that before. But that's great. Always nice to see something new. Yeah, that's got some sort of spiritual significance. You know, that's really cool. Like that a lot. These houses over here, if you see across on the across over here, on the I'm in the mud. Oh my God. Those houses across. When the Whippa came down and this water was, and I kid you not, was 2 meters higher. You can even see. You see that pink house across the street? I'm going to show you in a zoom. You see the water line right there? The water line right there. That's how high the water. That's how high the water came up. You know, it's not a joke. You know. But anyway, that's what happened there. I hope we see some kind of interesting creatures. Yesterday we saw an eel and a kitten and some dogs. I've been keeping my eyes open for scorpions and other kinds of interesting creatures, but haven't seen any. Seen some snails. You know, I'll tell you. Here's an interesting thing. I did a video on this. I don't know, a few months ago. That this is an amazing creature, but they're like a huge pesticide, and it's the African land snail. They are the largest land snail in the world, and they just consume vegetation very quickly. Now, it's interesting that the African land snail is like, you know, illegal in the United States, illegal in Europe and stuff like that. Well, you know, that could make sense, you know, and everything like that. But I don't know, we have African land snails here and they are endemic, but there's plenty of vegetation. I don't know. So maybe the African land snail got a bad rap. I don't know, but they're kind of a nasty creature. If you like zoom in on their mouth and how they eat, kind of scary. It looks like Dune, the movie Dune. So can't always tell. Oh, we got another bridge here. More debris in the bridge. That'll all be gone soon. Sometimes you can find something kind of interesting in the debris. Like yesterday, I didn't get it, but you know, I didn't want it either. But there was a nice plastic chair that floated down the canal. Got stuck on a bridge. Somebody took that. And fortunately, we are going to make the full loop today. We're going to be able to make the whole loop today. That's going to be fantastic. You know, I haven't been over there in 5 or 6 days. See what's going on over there. I like that kind of like a highway thing, but you got to be careful because there's like, you know, trucks zooming by sometimes. So, but it's all right. I mean, you know, it's like any other highway. It's not a highway. It's like a byway. I don't know, or something like that. Anyway, here's something that I didn't explain before. I'll explain it now. You see these things here? These are steps. And these steps go down into the canal. But if the water wasn't this high, there's like a walkway, right? That goes out about 10 feet, maybe to where the tip of this stick is. And that's where the canal is normally. So it's still high, but it's not high. It's not nearly as high as it was. I mean, look at this across the street. You see this across the street? This was over that rail. This water from this thing was over that rail, and that is a flood. Anyway, let's keep it moving. Don't want to slip in the mud and don't want to get hit by a motorbike. All right. So, yeah, that's nice. Anyway, anybody want to tell me where they're watching from? I'd like to know. Where are you guys watching from? Well, new pate alai khap. All right. I don't know. I think sometimes people watching, a lot of people don't speak English. Maybe they speak Thai. I can speak Thai, and they like to check it out, see how much this Phalang can speak Thai. My wife, though, on the other hand, we've been married over 20 years, and I should be the first one to say, my Thai sucks, you know. But it probably does suck. But but people can understand me, so that's the main thing, you know. I might not say it the cleanest way, you know, the best way, but people understand if I really need to talk, you know. All right, now yesterday we were over here. You see this up ahead here? Check this out. I'm gonna show you something. Check this out. This is the back, right up here. Okay, that is the back of the statue. That is the greeting point for this hamlet. I'll call it a hamlet more, or a town, I guess. But anyway, on the other side of that is a highway, and on the other side of that highway is another town, which, incidentally, is quite. I've only been over there a few times, but there's like a horse farm over there, and there are supposedly, from my understanding, there are some Christian, like a Christian sect or something like that. I'm doing a long form video on a part of the history of Southeast Asia and and Siam, because it was called Siam. Siam's involvement up until the 18th century, right? It's cool. Very interesting times, you know. A lot of things were happening, and incidentally, I'll say another thing about that is, if you think about it from a historical perspective, what point of time in history do you think most influenced the world as it is today? It's an interesting question, right? What would you answer? Would you say it's World War II, World War I, or something else? All right, here we go. Anybody want to go whitewater rafting? I don't know, if your raft can go underneath that bridge, I think you'll be all right. So I'm not going to try it. I don't think anybody's stupid enough to try it, but there it is. There's whitewater available. Now, the old man that I was talking to is telling me to come over here in front of the bank because there's somebody selling umbrellas over here. I don't think they're going to be awake just yet. But we're going to go check and see if they are. If they aren't, then what I'm going to do is I will deposit money in my bank account that I didn't spend as a bonus for me. but I don't think they're out here. I'm probably coming back. Usually you'll see later in the day, noon or something like that, people selling lottery tickets out here or something like that. But mostly all the shops are going to be closed. Like this is the shop that I think that he was talking about. And no, they're not open. And actually, you know what? I'm not going to go to the bank. I was going to deposit the money, but good morning. But my wife, she's going to take all my money, so I'm going to keep it in my pocket for now. Anyway. Who's that? Fazbear. We are in Thailand. We're in northern Thailand, just about, 50 kilometers away from Chiang Mai. Close to Chiang Mai. I'm looking for a garbage can. I'll throw out this plastic. So, what this is a store that sells fans, appliances. You can get weed cutters, you can get air conditioners. Pretty much services anything that's sort of an appliance here. And I'll tell you the funny thing is, my wife came here to buy something. I forget what she was buying. But she won, just as the luck of the draw, she won a washing machine that cost 23,000 baht, and they gave it to her for free. Just the luck that she had, it was amazing. Very nice washing machine. Yeah, she wanted a washing machine. That's 23,000 baht. That's like $700. That's not bad. I mean, I'd like somebody to give me $700. My wife was ecstatic. She had her picture taken and everything like that. And then they post it. Obviously they're going to post it. Oh, I should have looked to see if our picture was there because I was in the picture with her. This building here, I'll show you this. This building here used to be a bank. And it's a really nice building, right? Like goes all the way up there. It's well built and everything like that. Has entrance. And I'll tell you, this building has been for sale for 20 years. It's virtually unused, but whoever built it made a big mistake because there's not the supply and demand for that kind of a building. All right, now we're on the home stretch. We have officially made it to the half point time. And this is the road that I was talking about. Wouldn't go on. Oh my Lord. I hope. All right, well, if that street is filled with water, I'll find another way over. But I hope that that street, the reason I avoided it yesterday was because there was a street that was filled with water. I didn't feel like going, ankle deep, So, let me see here. Here's a garbage can, a garbage bag. It's got an opening. I can throw it away. There we go. All right, here we go. You want to see what the fire department looks like? The fire department is over here on the left. That's one of their main fire trucks, you would say. I don't think they have too many fire trucks. I don't know. Houses catching on fire here is not as big a deal, as far as I know, as it is in some Western countries. Here's another fire truck, and that's the fire building. Oh yeah, there's a lot more stuff over here. Maybe I spoke too soon. They have the EMS. And they have a truck. I don't know what those are for, but I'm sure they have good use. And if you see up ahead here, here, this is they call it the Tessaban. Tessaban is like the city hall. It's like city hall, you know. So you go here for all your, well, a lot of your documents, you know. Right. But it's not where the motor vehicles is. That's another place. Let's see here. Oh, mamma mia. Goodness, I didn't bust my butt on this mud. So, if you guys are wondering what this old stretch of highway here going all the way up this way, this road, if you keep going, will eventually turn to those mountains. You see those mountains in the back there? And over those mountains is Chiang Mai. So we're probably more than 50 kilometers away from Chiang Mai, but you know, we are where we are, and Chiang Mai is where it's at, and that's all we need to say about that. Anyway, lots of signs for houses for sale. You know, one of the things that happens here in a town like this, especially because the age of people who live here is generally elderly. Like the elderly, I don't know the statistics, but I can just speak on what I see. You know, like the people who are over the age of 40, outnumber by 10 to 1. Babies, there are babies, but then, you know, when they grow up, they want to go explore the world. They want to go see something else. Oh, there's a nice wood house. The next one next to it. Yeah. Had a terrible story about one of this guy who lives next to me. He ended up becoming incarcerated. When he got incarcerated, right, his wife and his kids sold his house. You know, they didn't sell the land. What they did was they sold the house because the house was made of wood, and it has a high, you know, can get a nice price for wood. When he got out of jail, he didn't have a house. Poor guy. Anyway, let's see, what does this look like? Doesn't look like much. At our house, we've had a cobra one time. I wasn't here when that happened, but yeah, my wife called. Like, you know, there's like a animal control department you call, and they come and take it away and put it to a safe place, or safe for humans, you know. So yeah, we had a cobra one time. It was funny, not funny. It was what's the word? Ironic? Yeah. Our stepfather, he walked right by it. Now, you know, a cobra doesn't really want to just bite people for no reason or anything. It bites when it's intimidated, you know, or it's scared of something, you know. So, luckily, it didn't feel intimidated or scared by father-in-law. But yeah, so the animal control came and they took it away, and that was kind of interesting. In our garden, we have a tortoise. Do you guys know that we have a tortoise in our garden? Yeah, he weighs over 100 pounds, or well over 50 kilo. He's an African tortoise. It's called an African Sulcata Tortoise or African Spurred Sulcata Tortoise. And yeah, you can look in the videos. I actually, my wife had me take him out of his pen because it was, starting to get, the water was getting deeper and deeper. And he's not heavy. I mean, he's not light. Having to take him out of there. And he wasn't very happy about that either. But, tortoises can't swim. So if the water gets really, above their head, they'll drown. Although I have read that tortoises can float, but they can't swim. I don't know. Anyway, he's okay. He's back in his pen. All right. So here's an interesting thing that I'll show you. They have this, probably in a lot of countries. What this is like a donation thing, right? People sort of just leave things here that maybe other people can use rather than throw it away. That's pretty cool. Yeah, that's right. I'm sorry if I don't see your chat right away. I'm using my phone and I'm walking at the same time. So when I look, I answer it as soon as I see it. But I don't know if you guys, the people who have asked questions, if they have extricated themselves from the stream. But I don't know. I answer it anyway. This is northern Thailand. We are near the border of Laos, and it's a thin part of Laos. I don't think people here say Laos, they say Lao. And it's a thin part of Laos. And on the other side of that is China, Guangzhou province, right? So you could probably ride your bicycle there. Might take you a couple days. I don't know. You'd have to go over the Mekong River. I've been up to the Mekong River a couple times. Lovely, lovely, lovely thing. The only thing about that is that I think in recent years, governments have been damming, setting up dams, and that's a tremendous environmental situation. All right, what do we have here? Is this thing actually connected? Yes, it is. And this is a pumpkin. It's called fuck tong, but it hasn't turned its colors yet. That's fuck tong, and that's a Japanese. What you might call it? It's a Japanese pumpkin, and it's used cooking. People love to cook with it. It's in curries and stuff like that. It's like an orange, like the flesh of the thing is orange. And here's another one. Look at this, just growing off the tree like that. You see that? Let's see. You see my hand is right up against it. That's a big one, huh? I think that it doesn't look like fuck tong, but some sort of squash. I don't know. Anyway, let's keep going. It's surprisingly sedate this morning. I think people still aren't moving around because of the flood. But slowly but surely things will get back to normal. Slowly but surely. All right. Yeah, you can get a cup of coffee for 20 baht. You can get a cup of coffee for 20 baht made by a barista. 20 baht is about 70 cents. I think it's a lot cheaper than buying at Starbucks. But maybe they taste a little different. I don't know. Anyway, that's something. And you see up here on here's a watt. Now, if you don't know, a lot of people bring their like dogs that they don't want to the Wat, and they're called Wat dogs. And the monks at the Wat generally take care of them. There's, it's a Buddhist country, pretty much, right? So, like, there's something called the Eightfold Noble Path, right? And that's basically you don't kill, you don't steal, you don't fornicate, promiscuity, or you don't talk bad about people, and so on. And that's four of them or five of them. But anyway, so there's no animal control here that puts down animals, right? Like in the United States, like if there were stray dogs running around, they have the animal control. They put them in a shelter, ASPCA or wherever, and then they mostly put them to euthanize them, which is sad because you're not putting the dog out of its misery. You're putting the dog out of your misery. That's a big difference. People should understand that, And dogs are very intelligent organisms, animals. Some studies say that they have the mental ability of something like a 13-year-old human. But this is Wat Boon Ruang. And it's quite nice. You can see inside, and it's got this beautiful ornate entrance. And the thing about this Wat, though, from my understanding, from what I've heard, is not the most favorite Wat in this town for whatever reasons. And now I think we're getting close to crossing the street because I can say hello to this lady. I haven't seen her. Sawadee krab. Nan lao maได้เห็นสบายดีหรือเปล่าผมอยู่ประเทศอเมริกา7 ปีรู้แล้วเหรอผมมา3 เดือนยังไม่ครับอยู่3 เดือนแล้วครับผมยังไม่รู้ครับยังไม่รู้ครับเนี่ยไม่รู้อยากอยู่ไปตอนดูนั่นก่อน bye bye okay now that was nice. I haven't seen her in a long time. She's a really nice lady. I used to go and eat. She had a restaurant behind her store. We used to go eat there a lot. Back in those days, I used to drink, so I used to drink beer. And I would drink, sit down and drink a few bottles of beer and have some food and be on my way. Right. Those days are behind me. Too old for that. It just doesn't make the body feel too good. The older you get, the more sensitive your body is to things in a different way. Like I remember when I was young, when I was in my 20s, I would eat something like say I was like out working and stuff like that, and I would eat like an orange. You could feel like the minerals just entering your bloodstream and stuff like that. Like if you like really concentrate when you eat something, and you can feel it. You know, I mean, why wouldn't you, right? I mean, anything you ingest goes into your body and into your bloodstream and is registered by your nervous system, right? So everything that you put in your body, you're going to have some sort of a reaction. Anyway, I really liked the reaction sometimes when I get vitamin C, because it's like so key, Like drink orange juice. You ever drink a glass of orange juice and then all of a sudden you feel like super energized? Try it sometime. Drink a glass of orange juice and just like sit and like semi-meditate. You can feel it. Certainly, like if you drank a glass of water too, check that out. If you were out like in the hot sun and you hadn't had water in a few hours and stuff like that, you have a physical reaction to drinking water. All right. This is the first time I've seen this truck leaving here. I don't know what they're for. I think it's some sort of electrical type of thing. But generally, this truck, he's just going back in. Yeah. I don't know. All right. Hey, here's that cornfield we talked about the other day. Somebody's going to make a nice bit of change with this cornfield. Like, I'm going to take a closer look. So, corn grows really quickly, right? And I'm guessing down here on the bottom, these are going to be corn stalks, right? Isn't that how that works? They grow up and become corn stalks. So for each corn stalk, you're probably going to get about 1 or 2 baht. That might not sound like a lot for one, but this is a field of them, so I think that's a successful farming operation, if you ask me. You probably ask them, they'll say the same thing. Anyway. All right, now this sign says go on the other side of the street. At least that's what it's saying to me. Just don't want to get hit by a car. Uh-oh, here comes one. All right. So, this has been a lovely walk. Well, we're back up to this tree. I'm going to tell you something. I know about this tree right up here, okay? I'm going to zoom in for a minute there. You see this tree? And you see these things hanging down. That's called linfa. And the English word would be, or English name for it, in the anglicized name for that would be like, I think it's like nightmare trumpet or Indian trumpet or something like that. It has a few names. But anyway, supposedly this tree has very strong medicinal purposes, and it is like it's been sort of like analyzed, but not like fully from my understanding. Like they haven't done like extensive analysis of this tree, but it has like anti-carcinogenic properties. It has like some sort of headaches and anti-swelling and stuff like that. So that's pretty cool. That's good. Linfa. It has other names, like Paga, something like that. Yeah. So that's basically the name of that tune. So yeah, so that's kind of an interesting thing. But the thing is, what's even more interesting to me is that like people eat it. They eat those boomerang like seed pods. They eat it. They cook it up and eat it. And it's supposed to be pretty good for you. I had it once. Wasn't really my favorite. I didn't feel like it did anything to me. But it was sort of like eating a tasteless flower, because it's not a vegetable. It's a tree, right? But who knows, man? There's still things to be discovered in botanical in the botanical world that could have medicinal properties. And supposedly that has medicinal properties. I don't know why it hasn't been more thoroughly examined, but maybe one day. All right, here you can see this guy has a well, and is right next to the water. So he uses his well to water his plants, which are right next to the canal. All right, next. Where are we going next? Keep going. Keep on going. Let's see. Well, there's no shortage of coconut trees out here, and you can get coconut there, coconut milk, coconut oil, and everything like that. Basically, if you wanted that, that's just free. You just walk out and go get some. Same thing goes for papaya, mango, guava. These are all things like you could probably, you could just like pick off the tree, pretty much. They really grow everywhere, The funny thing was, when I was back in the United States, I was doing like some work. I had to go to a supermarket, and I went to the supermarket and I saw all these mangoes, right? The mangoes that they have here, right? And I saw them. Each mango was for sale for like, I don't know, like close to $2 a mango. Now, these are the honeydew mangoes, right? These honeydew mangoes grow everywhere here. In fact, you can't give them away. But if you could export them to the United States. So I called up my wife on a messenger, and I said, baby, you didn't know that we're millionaires? You didn't know we're millionaires? And I told her that they have mangoes everywhere, and same goes with the rambutan and mankut and mankut, right? So these things, they just like obviously they grow in tropical regions. I wonder how to explore them. I wish I had all right, hello. The savvy, the business savvy to get into the. You can never get into the. It's all locked down already by big corporations and mafia and governments and stuff like that. Never allow a small guy to get involved, or at least that's my opinion. So that kind of sums it up, I'm walking on this little side street. I don't want to go over to that street that I told you that would be like ankle deep in water. I don't feel like going in there. But we'll be back at the crib pretty soon, and hopefully, if you guys stick around, I can show you the bridge with the biggest debris pile in this town, and it's right by our house. So we'll see about that. All right, yeah, we're back on the stretch here. That's nice. Not too far now. Not too far at all. A nice little soy. It's a side soy. All right. I see my friend's dog up ahead. That dog is super nice. Such a lovely, loving dog. Unfortunately, his partner isn't. So, and I don't mean a human. His dog friend isn't. Well, I wouldn't say he's so nice, but he's got a loud mouth. And like so, I guess what do they say? Barking dogs don't bite. But well, we'll see. Almost back. But the vegetable place is closed. That's a vegetable place. Not open now. But hopefully they'll open soon. So hopefully they'll open soon. And oh, น้ำท่วมหายแล้วดีมาก สบายดีหรือเปล่าดีมาก this dog up here, he's really just a sweetheart. Watch him bite me now, right? No, he's a sweetheart. Yeah, you're a good boy. Oh yeah. Why are you barking at me today? Is that a nice bark? Is that a nice bark or is that? Oh, okay. You don't trust me because you don't know me. Don't bite my legs, please. That's what. Anyway, thank you all for joining me on this walk today. Looks like we're going to close out here. Thank you. God bless everybody, and hope you all do well.